I'd like to call a meeting of the Development Review Board to order, June 18, 2013. Let me introduce the members of the board present this evening. Milt Surdam, Dan Molenberg, Charles Koukouris, Ron Alderman, Bill Barney, Harry Hurst. I'm Charles Kopp. Dan Monks is our zoning administrator, and Linda Bermudez is our secretary. Okay, Dan.
Okay, our first item on our agenda this evening are minutes from last time.
Any changes, just Charles?
I was going to make a motion to approve.
Okay, and a motion to approve. Bill seconds. All in favor? Okay.
Okay. Next on our agenda is the witness oath, and we ask anybody who speaks this evening to sign the sign-in sheet across the way, and it includes the following oath statement. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pains and penalty of perjury that the statements I make, testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the board at the board's public hearing held on this date shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. And again, that's right across the way, and we ask you to sign that before speaking this evening. Next item on our agenda is disclosure of any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest regarding the matters before us this evening. Seeing none?
Don't see any.
Okay. Our first and only hearing this evening is Birch Hollow LLC, 262 Main Street. This applicant is seeking development plan and design plan approval for a 9,100 square foot Dollar General retail store at that location. This plan was preliminarily reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission, and they did approve the design plan for the building. This is the first of two required hearings, so it's preliminary review this evening. And see that the folks are here this evening.
Okay, you're all set. Just come up by the microphone and give your name, please. Sign in.
My name is Chris Panessi. I work for Spieth Engineering, and I'm here to represent the Zaremba Group, who is a developer of the project, and Birch Hollow, who is the owner. What we're here to present is, as Dan said, a construction of a 9,100 square foot retail store on Main Street in the former Al Caro parking lot on the north side. As you have in your packages, I also have plans here for what we're planning to do. Okay, I'll start with the site plan. That'll probably be the easiest to go over. What we're looking at doing is constructing the retail store on the west side, west portion of the parcel. Parcel is shown on the plans of the outline, kind of an odd square shape. The drive that we're going to be proposing is just about opposite of the drive across on the south side of Main Street, and it would be shifting the existing drive that's there now up to the west a little bit. The store would be 9,100 square feet, requiring 31 parking spaces by the town zoning code. So you can see we have those required spaces for the project here. It is a center drive aisle for parking on both sides, and then we have a swing around and extra parking spaces on the back side here. The reason this layout is done is more for Dollar General Dollar General's traffic circulation plan for their loading and unloading of their trucks. Their trucks would turn into the entrance, come around, and then back up to their loading zone, which is located behind the building. This way, you know, if a truck, is loading, it's out of the way of all the rest of the circulating traffic. As well as also as part of the circulation, we have provided, besides the spaces, all the necessary landscaping trees within and green space within the parking area, which is shown up on this calculation on the top corner. And all the calculations are shown there and then below in the charts. Okay, showing that we meet the green space and then we also meet parking spaces. And then the amount of shade trees to be planted. As you probably know from seeing the site over the years, there's a line of hedgerow trees that are along the property line from the existing retail establishment where Family Dollar and the DMV are now. We will have to grade into some of that bank, and since those trees are tall deciduous trees, we're going to remove a few of them and then put in a row of evergreens to help screen the parking and meet that 42-inch parking screen that we need to meet. Okay. In the front area, what we plan to do is, instead of just putting some landscaping shrubs right up against the parking area so we can leave some room for snow storage as we have shown here as well, we want to plant approximately 2-foot high, nice landscaping berm. Here it's a nice little odd shape with a lot of plantings on it to help screen the parking lot. So it would be an earthen and vegetative screen for the parking. The building itself, I'll move over to this side, is planned to be the 2-story as required. It would be a faux second story, but it would have the parapets and all the cornice details, which again was, as Dan said, was approved by the historic review. What we're planning on is a brick panelized system, and then having the windows, there actually would be faux windows, it'd be a spandrel glass, dark shaded, so there's no reflection on it. And then we have some other details such as the awnings over there. The front would again have some additional street trees. As you know, from that site now, there are some street trees, there's maples and elms that are located on the street along with a light pole. One of the light poles actually is a little too close to the entrance that we're proposing. So move back over here. So we're planning on locating that pole and moving it at approximately 9 feet. After talking with R.J. Jolly about that pole, he wanted to keep that light pole as close to the entrance as possible to keep the spacing on the street the same. So he's okay with this location that we planned on moving it. We'd also be moving one of the street trees back onto in front of the building, and then planting a few additional trees to make sure that we meet the spacing requirements and that everything has a nice evenly spaced feel about it. Let's see, what else? On a drainage note, there's a few downspouts and some runoff that would be coming, since we're going to be adjacent to the Kirkside Motel on the back side of it. There's, and you can see them, there's some just lines sticking out. Those are actually leaders coming down from the roofs. What we're planning on doing is collecting it. One of the other plans that you have, I'm just going to flip this around, is a grading and drainage plan. And that shows, it's SP2. That shows that we plan on putting some drainage inlets. Those are nioplast structures that have a metal rim, somewhat of a catch basin, put it that way, that comes out and would drain water that collects on the surface. We'd have it graded down so they'd be at low spots. And then we also, the roof drainage coming from our building would drain into that system. We plan on collecting it, bringing it out towards the road, across the front of the building, and then with catch basins in our parking lot and our snow storage areas, bringing it out to a new catch basin on Route 9, or Main Street, excuse me. And then what we plan on doing is bringing that catch basin down to connect with the existing catch basin that's located in front of the Sunnyside Diner. So there's one, not like special issue with that is, but one issue that we will deal with during construction is that this catch basin is only about 18 inches tall and sits directly on top of a hand-laid stone arch that still goes underneath Main Street here. There's a concrete head wall behind the Sunnyside, comes over, and then there's hand-laid stone arch here, and then it goes on this property where the fish fry is, that's now box culvert that goes up and around and out to the river. So we will be cutting part of the road up and then shoring up a new connection directly into the stone arch and actually leave the catch basin alone. We'll be going into the side of the arch with a new concrete poured wall that we have to put to shore it back up. That is something that we'll work out with RJ if we get approved and move towards construction, but he's preliminary approved our connection in the drainage system. What he did request as part of that was, since we were going to be digging on the side of, against the curb. He asked us to replace the curb along Main Street. And what we're showing here is from about that catch basin, at a point either where there's an expansion joint or where the two curbs don't match, which is pretty much right next to the catch basin, we plan to replace the curb all the way up to the side where it meets the property line and just past it to actually where the Kirkside Motel driveway is. Instead of stopping at 20 feet short, we're going to go the whole way. And we also plan to dig up and replace the sidewalk, since we're going to be moving parts of it anyway, and replace the whole front part of the sidewalk in front of the property, which actually works well because when you walk on the property, there's odd sections of sidewalk in that area anyway. So we'll be taking out some of the older stuff and matching it up. Otherwise, for drainage, we'd be collecting everything on our site and bringing it to the town system, which is the box culvert that goes underneath. The grading is shown goes to all the catch basins. And then on this side where it's fanning back towards the end, we'll have a wing edge on the end of the pavement, and there's a detail for it on the detail pages, that'll bring it around into this catch basin. The catch basin is sized with 18-inch pipes, which is adequate for the storms as necessary. This project has less than 1 acre of impervious, does not require a stormwater permit from the state of Vermont. So we are doing treatment and good engineering practices to manage the stormwater, obviously, so it doesn't go off to the neighboring site like it would today. So heavy storms now would actually just fan itself across the parking lot into the into the vegetated areas, and then down into the parking lot of where Aubuchon used to be now, Family Dollar, and create more problems for them. We'll be collecting it and bringing it right to the town system, which drains to the river. We've also supplied utility plans and a landscaping plan with foot candles analysis for the lighting plan. We've gone through multiple iterations of the lighting plan. I could put it up, but you're not going to be able to see it, so you're better off looking at it, I guess, in your packages. We plan on using a LED light, multiple poles to keep the foot candles down to meet the town standards, and also the state of Vermont standards for municipalities for dark skies. What else? We had originally designed the project to have wall packs, which would be attached to the building. Obviously, you don't want to light the building up to meet town standards. So those have been removed, and then now there's poles located in a couple of parking spaces and some hatched areas. The building itself will be, if you don't mind, I'm going to pass these, will start on both sides. It's a brick panelized, and then this is the stone base. So the stone base would be the lighter stone, obviously, in the bottom of the picture. The brick would be the rest of the building. As requested through the historic review of the downtown district, the columns for the breaking of the building would be proud to stick out from the building as shown in the illustration, and the different architectural features that brought in to try to mimic some of the other downtown buildings, like the one near Friendly's or the theater building. There's definitely some details they put in to try to match that above and below the windows and the awnings. Let's see. The building would be supplied by propane. You can see it's shown on the utility plan, SB3, but also on the grading plan. We're going to have a plan to have buried propane tanks in this back area here, relatively have a little slope go down to a flat area where they would be able to have a couple of 500-gallon propane tanks buried, bring the line in to the condensers and everything for the building. We also are proposing a dumpster area located behind the building, out of sight, would be screened with, I believe it's slotted chain link fence, or is it? It'll be wood. Is it wood? I have to. So it would be, again, an enclosed dumpster area, and it has, gates and everything, so we'd be able to keep it fully enclosed. Let's see. Overall, that's a basic overview of the project. I think I've touched on a few of the elements that we've designed it for. And if anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Anyone have any questions? Charles?
The sidewalks, are they going to match up with the downtown, how Bennington's doing their downtown sidewalks with the brick and the light post? Is it going to be matching the same as that?
Not at this time. You mean between the brick and the curb to have brick there?
Between the corner of Depot Street and Main up to the Kirkside Motor Lodge, the sidewalks.
There's
No, I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to think of what Main Street.
Oh, there isn't?
Those are concrete walks.
Oh, those are concrete.
Okay. So we plan to just put in the concrete and then restore the grass strip that's between the concrete that's there now. There's a telecommunication line that runs underneath the sidewalk right now. There's a manhole that's down near the fish fry sign over here in the corner. We could always work with RJ when we go through to do the construction, because he's obviously going to be there and be an integral part of it when we're doing it, if we are approved. So we can make any changes, during construction or before construction as necessary, but, that's what he's asked us for, the curb and the sidewalk to be replaced, which we absolutely agreed to.
Any questions? Ron?
The upstairs, second floor, what's that going to be used for?
It's actually not going to be a full second story. It's going to be a faux second floor. Behind the parapet wall is actually going to be a sloped roof that goes to a leader system, and the mechanicals for the building will be up there, hidden behind the parapet wall, because otherwise they would be on this area behind the building next to the loading zone. I'm showing it as grass. Normally the mechanicals would be there behind a fence, but to try to keep the noise down towards the back of the hotel, we decided to put them on the building where the parapet wall would shield that noise.
Makes sense, thank you.
Yes, no problem.
Others? Dan?
No screening on the propane tanks?
The propane tanks will be below ground, so they'll just be the cover, and then we show a few bollards just in case a car happens to go over the bank. But again, just the covers would be shown.
And Dan, a question for you. The Norway spruce, that wasn't the planting that we talked about last week that was considered invasive, right? It was
Not that I recall,
spruce.
no.
It was a maple
No.
of some sort.
It was the Norway maple is,
Okay.
yep, yes, the Norway maple is,
Okay.
absolutely, Dan.
Any others? Bill?
Are you going to talk more about the building, or, because I just got a couple questions on the building.
I can talk about the building.
Why don't you wait? I have some questions on these drawings. Okay, let's do those first.
Okay.
On EC1? There's a couple things I'd like to see removed on here. There's one right in front of TJ's Fish Fry.
Okay.
It says, existing guardrail to be removed.
Yes.
There is no guardrail there.
There's posts and a 3-string wire guardrail that goes in and out of the ground. We plan on removing that. I think that was there installed for the car lot.
He's talking about the one in front, you're showing one in front of the fish fry.
You showed two in there.
It's just a note that's been
Oh, okay.
misplaced.
I'm sorry, yeah.
You just removed that note.
Sure.
There's one just below that points to the guardrail, but this just points to the building.
Okay.
Okay? The other one is the Sunnyside Diner. Down here, you said other lands of Birch Hollow LLC.
Right.
That particular piece of property belongs to Greenberg.
Right, and I'll yell at the
So if you could
surveyor for that,
just
honestly.
remove that.
Right.
Okay, let's see what else I have here. I guess that's all I have on these. Okay. Pardon? Barry? Bill?
Can I ask my question now?
Yeah.
Oh, you show on the, let me get myself oriented here, the east elevation rear loading. Is that north or east? You've got it labeled east.
Our loading zone is on the north side.
Okay, because you got the doors facing right up Main Street.
Right, sorry.
No, it's just that's what I thought it was.
No, it's the north side.
Okay. because that's what it showed on your other. The other thing I was just a little bit of concern about was the snow area that faces Route 9.
Okay.
The snow storage area. I understand why it's there, and I don't have any problem with using it. The only problem I have is leaving it there. The snow there for prolonged periods of time. You know how snow turns brown and dirty and crap.
Right, and you're talking about the one that's here behind the berm?
Right.
That's one of the reasons we proposed the earthen berm to be a couple feet and then a couple feet of shrubs on. And I understand the shrubs might not be all evergreen shrubs, so you'd see them, but, you know, having the person move them around to the side, there's really, without putting the snow storage in a place where it would drain to the neighbor, I mean, it's going to be hard to find an area unless we keep it just back over in this general area.
Well, I don't have any problem putting it there, but I think we'll put in a stipulation that it has to be removed periodically, so that,
Or broken down and spread.
just so it doesn't, there's a big pile of black dirt piled up there every time we get a little rain or a little sun.
I gotcha.
That's,
Okay.
Anyone else on that drawing? Okay, I have a couple of things on this one.
Elevation.
One thing is I need a graphic scale on that, on this drawing of the building.
Oh, the elevation drawing? Okay, that's not a
I'd
problem.
like to see a graphic scale. And also, Bill mentioned that the east should be north, and I think the west should be south.
Right.
You're going to change
I'll work that out. Those are actually done by the architect who actually did the 3D rendering as well, and I'll work those items out with him.
And the other thing, when you get a sign permit, the size of the sign is the whole enclosure, not just the letters. So that has to be changed. It comes to about 40 square feet.
Okay.
So if you just,
Yeah, so just so for your edification, you will need to get a sign permit, and that 40 square feet is over the maximum, so we'd have to shrink them just a little bit. I think it's 36 overall for the two signs combined. We can work that out, but...
Right, and I know it says put the imaginary box around
Yeah.
it and do it, so, you know, again, I'll work with the architect to do that, and we would obviously do that for the sign permit.
Just for you, so moving forward, so you know.
Absolutely.
any other questions? Sam, you have anything?
Yes, I do.
Would you come up, please, sign in, give your name?
I'm Sam Rustino from Bennington, Vermont. I work at Kirkside, and also I'm part of taking care of the El Carroll property. And I've got some questions for the project. I think it's great. I hope the project does go through. Will you be allowing any parking in front of the Dollar General on Main Street?
He's going to have adequate parking.
No, on Main Street.
I don't know.
yeah, can't stop it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's a no parking zone or not. It'll just follow whatever the existing rules are.
Because I know, as you know, church on Saturday and Sunday, you do get tunnel vision on both sides. With this store being here and traffic pulling in and out, you're creating a little hazard with the amount of traffic pulling in on that roadway. And there's a crosswalk that's just down further from Kirkside. That's only my concern is. In front of Kirkside, you could probably have parking where it is now. But in front of this store right here, I wouldn't really recommend it. It's something to think
We're giving
about.
control over the state road.
That's one of my
It's
concerns.
the town controls it.
Just to say for us, we're not proposing any street parking, obviously. My client, for a store this size, actually requires 30 to 31 spaces, which is also the town requirement. Providing those 31 spaces, we're not looking for any additional, so.
Right.
You know, I didn't honestly know you couldn't park on the street that close to the intersection there.
I think that's an issue with the town, isn't
Right.
it? You'd have to take that to the town. They control that.
And we'd obviously be agreeable to that. I mean, that's something we can definitely work through, no problem.
I think that's something, if it becomes an issue, the town will deal with it, but it's not something that we'd be concerned about.
Okay, well.
Just, you know, we're not
it's-
looking for it.
It's on my fielder. Secondly, where gutter number 4 is, towards the back.
This one back here.
Yes. That's our propane tank. So it's not here on the print, but there's a propane tank there.
Okay.
Two ways to solve this. You could have, it doesn't get filled all that much, you could have the delivery truck park here with its 4 ways and pull the hose from here, the front of Kirkside, all the way to fill this tank, or permission on your property to allow the driver to come over and park here. And is this going to be a fenced-in area, or is this going to be opened area here? To allow access to fill that propane tank.
Right. If I recall, there's actually access and a gate here, which a truck could back up to and fill as well. On the Kirkside property, there's a gate here on the parking lot there.
Correct, but the elevation is down lower, and you're up on a hill.
I
It'd be
understand
difficult for the driver to come over, so this is something to be discussed.
Yeah, I don't know if they would allow, my client would allow that just for.
I don't think it's
Safety
appropriate
side.
for us to mandate easements for private property owners. The board can certainly consider it, but I don't see
it's a
it.
concern that was overlooked. I mean, you're building great with the project coming in. It's been vacant for 7 years. I'm just bringing concerns to the table as well. And drainage is another issue. As you know, this property was once a holding pond that ran Bennington many moons ago with water.
Yep.
You're putting a property on water. You cannot change water, from what I understand, with this drainage system that you're going to be dumping
Sam?
into this.
Sam?
Oh, yes, sir.
That's not a concern right now.
It's not a concern?
Let me ask you a question. Are you connected to the Kirkside?
Yes, I work for Bill Soto with the Kirkside. And also, I'm caretaker of the El Carro property. I'm caught in the middle. And this is why I came to this meeting, to voice my opinion. And I look at this property every day. And with this catch basin that I'm surprised has not collapsed yet, you're allowing to put more water to travel to go through. Yes, when the time comes, if we cross that bridge to address this issue, we don't know how this is going to work. We know how it works on paper, but in virtuality, it's something to think about. I'm all for the projects, there's just questions that I'm just asking. That's all. Those were my concerns, the propane tank, the parking in front, and drainage. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Anyone else?
Okay.
Would you like to speak? Okay. Okay. Matt, is it?
Yes, Matt Casey. My name is Matt Casey. We are the developer for Dollar General on this
Could you just
property.
sign the...
Sure.
If we have approval, yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I'd like to address, if we could, is just on the question regarding propane, is whether or not Dollar General would allow a propane truck to service another neighboring property from their parking lot. I can probably answer that for Dollar General, our client on this, is that I cannot see them allowing that really just out of liability purposes to be able to fuel up in case anything were to happen on the neighboring property that truck was servicing from there. So just from a liability perspective, it wouldn't be from anything else.
I think we understand that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else? Yes, Bill.
I just got a question about the stone laid up.
Yes.
How big is that?
Across?
Yeah, but, you know, the dimensions of it.
About, it's tough to measure it because there's only like a toilet bowl size hole at the top of it, and we didn't gear up and walk all the way down it. It appeared to be 8 feet tall to the water from the measurement, obviously blowing with the, with a drain, and then it's about 10 to 12 feet wide
Okay.
at the base.
So it's approximately the same measurement as the inlet.
Right, and the box culvert that goes around from the fish
Does
fry.
anybody know what the condition of that is?
We've looked at it, and the catch basin seems to be in moderate condition, and we have to do further investigations of it. That's something we would normally do if we're approved, do some engineering studies on it afterwards for construction, and, get down there and actually walk it inside the tunnel,
So
take
you're
pictures.
actually going to pull it apart enough to look in it?
No, we'll probably walk down through the other side from the end of it. The town has an easement for the right of that there, so I'll probably try to make arrangements with RJ and actually walk down it with a few flashlights, cameras, and some measurements tools and see what we can do. There's a few options that that have bounced back and forth, and this is something that we can work out with RJ as part of the town, the connection to that arch. But he's willing to go through that process with us and get it, figure it out how we can do it. He suggested a couple different things, like part of a box culvert section, or he was thinking, if we do the connection and we can pour a wall up to it, the town, he might put it on the town's plan to replace the rest of the box culvert or the laid up arch on his maintenance plan and his replacement plan. So there's a few items that we talked about. And that's something, again, that we'll work through.
So you are going to address
We're
it?
going to do something, yeah, obviously. It has to be safe. We don't want a catch basin to drop down in the middle of the street because we'd be responsible for the construction. And either RJ would, I don't believe he does the construction, but Billy would be there watching it to make sure it's done right. So.
Anything else from the board?
I would like to give you these. I brought them, so I don't waste my clients money by not handing them out. These are just some of the products that we sell. It's a general merchandising store. They sell groceries, household goods, stuff like that. These are just some of the brands in the center. If you can read them, it's a little small. And then some of the aisles look like on the inside. I don't know if that pertains to you as much, just to give you an idea of what we're looking to do.
If everyone's satisfied with the testimony this evening, it'd be appropriate to make a motion regarding preliminary determinations.
Barry?
I'll move to preliminarily approve the project.
Okay. Charles, you second? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Are you going to have a list of things? I would like to add something to the list. I would like to see some kind of a schematic or a plan of your light poles.
Oh, I submitted those.
We've got the parts in here, but I'd like to see the whole thing assembled.
What you have is the base and the fixture, but what Barry's talking about, is there an arm that hangs out, or how is that all going to look?
The final configuration that they'll be put on it.
Yep, and so a concrete base, you mean that with the pole? And those fixtures actually mount right to the pole, so there's no real arm that goes out.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah, that's what he's.
That's not a problem, yeah, absolutely. Would,
You can include the height.
yeah, and that's something, right, and we're at under the 16 foot, but that's something I'll get from the manufacturer and get to you.
Okay.
Okay.
So next time, just those minor things, just if you could get them to me a week before the meeting, I'll make sure to get it to the board.
Okay.
And we can talk about the specifics.
Right, would we be put on the next meeting?
The next meeting would be July 2nd, is that the first Tuesday in July?
It's the 3rd, isn't it? Oh, no, it is the 2nd, that's
Yeah,
right.
so that would be presumably your final hearing.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one other item this evening under other business. And I do have the file here, if you folks would want to look at it, we could do that in deliberative session if you don't feel comfortable acting right away. But Mark Beatty at Clyde Street, it's a minor two-lot subdivision, and he has requested a 3-year extension of his subdivision permit. His previous extension request is expiring, I believe, in September, so he's got some time. But the zoning hasn't changed in that area, and it's a minor subdivision. But if you folks would want to review the
He states the
file.
economic conditions, which he
Yes.
understand that, okay, so I'd say give it to him.
Okay,
Has it been renewed before?
yes. This is the second time. This would be the second time. But again, nothing has changed.
How long is the period for?
It's a standard 3-year request. Normally, a subdivision's good for 3 years, so he's asking for a renewal for 3 years.
Any questions? Need a motion?
I'll make a motion, we renew it.
Okay, Bill moves, Barry seconds. All in favor? That's it.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. I don't have any other business unless you folks do. Well, that's a good question. It wasn't on the agenda,
You slipped that.
but we can certainly, since it is a procedural matter, we can certainly discuss whether or not we'd like to have election of officers this evening. It's up to you folks if you want to do it tonight or do it next time.
Go right now and get it over with.
Everybody's here, so we might as well.
So far, like I said the last time, it ain't broke, so I just go with the same officers as in 3 years.
So that would be,
Just say, as long as I don't have to do nothing, I'm all for it.
I move that we accept the current slate of officers for the coming term.
so that would be Charlie Kopp as chair and Barry Hirsch as vice chair.
I'll second his motion.
So all those in favor?
Discussion? All in favor?
everybody.
You don't vote, Bill?
Can't
Oh,
vote for
that, yeah.
yourself.
All right.
I'm just watching you.
And then we typically appoint the chair for the application review panel, and that's currently Barry, so.
And the panel.
And the panel, which currently includes Charlie, Barry, and Bill. So,
Move to accept the current application review panel as it stands.
perfect.
This is.
So do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Oh, look at them all.
Charlie, look at everybody jumping. And all in favor? There we go. All right, it's unanimous.
I even voted for myself.
Thank you, gentlemen.
For you guys, yeah.
Oh, we do need to, look at that, Linda's reminding us, we need a motion to adjourn.
Yo, ho, ho. Move to adjourn. Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, right here.
Bill?
Second.
All in favor?
There we go.
Thank you, Linda.